CBS News 7.
Your seats are too goddamn small! If your big, round, beluga bop whale-looking self needs an accommodation in the cargo hold, we can make that happen.
We are here live at the scene of a shocking incident where a woman killed her husband for walking on the floor she mopped. Has she been arrested?
Not yet. We are waiting for the floor to dry. Welcome back to the Spectrum News Network. I'm your host, Marshmallow Jenkins. We have some extremely tragic news for you tonight. The only Hooters in my town has shut down. I drove my moped to the promised land on my lunch break today, and I was shocked to discover that the happiest place on earth has become nothing but a memory. A culinary institution that was once the heartbeat of Tickletoe County locked its doors for the last time this week as it filed for bankruptcy. As the earth shifted beneath my Crocs in that empty parking lot, it began to rain. As if even the sky knew what had been lost to the cruel, twisted hand of fate. I began to wonder where Kelly could be. Is she thinking about me? Wondering where I am? My soul is now bankrupt of boobies. But do I get to file these feelings? No, I must carry on. I must become the man that my dad wanted me to be. The man that was born when Kelly hugged me that one time and absolutely smothered my face with those squeezers. Because if I can't become that man, well, I don't deserve Kelly and her massive upper deckers, do I? So that's what I must do. I won't just survive this tragedy, I'll become stronger from it. Stronger than I've ever been. I know more jiggly honkers are out there, and I'll find them.
This just in. The United States has officially deployed its most reckless and unpredictable unit to the Middle East, the Ultima Team.
Girl, I'm lost. Keisha, guess where I am? Girl, they sent me to Iran. Who's gonna fill in? Girl, they got some good ass food here though. Did you not see me? Dead ass. Move. I don't even care for real. Bitch.
Thanks, Chris. Known for their unmatched ability to cause complete havoc in school zones, Walmart parking lots, and Taco Bell drive-thrus. Y'all lucky I ain't bring Keisha.
The Pentagon has confirmed these drivers were selected based on three things: unpaid registration, loud exhaust, and vibes. God help us all. Welcome to the Black News Network. I'm your host, Papa Cap and Yo Ass Jones. Tonight's story, BNN weather reporter and local hoe Keisha McRib thinks she too good for me. The part-time weather reporter and full-time community mattress was begging me to come through and lay this pipe last Friday, but now she want to act like she don't know me. She ain't ever had a problem asking me to pay for her food, but when it come time to show me what that mouth do, the hoe proudly lied, I ain't that kind of girl. So we just gonna act like you ain't already popping Plan Bs like they a daily vitamin. Oh, please. The dry cleaners won't even take your business anymore. They all tired of cleaning up baby batter stains off your clothes. Don't ever ask me to DoorDash you no crab legs again. You ain't never gonna feel these biggity black balls snocking all up on that tuna fish hot pocket garage door. And she wanna walk around here like we strangers now? Here's a forecast for any men thinking they about to get some neck work from this hoe. Expect a 100% chance of STDs. Don't be texting me next week saying I miss you, chocolate thunder, come and get this deep dish. I ain't no hot and ready midnight snack hoe. You just missed the free shrimp. And now here's Keisha McRib with the weather.
Producers have confirmed next season of Love Island will merge with the Hunger Games. Only one couple will survive the new format. Everyone else dies.
Senator Buck Nutley has unveiled his Big Girthy Bill, a new proposal meant to rival the Big Beautiful Bill. But does size really matter?
The shocking trend of Labubu violation continues as more and more people are finding their dolls' holes stretched wide open and reeking of shame.
If you thought Bigfoot was bad, wait till you meet his gooey cousin. A kumsquatch was just spotted in Dongwood National Forest.
Did you know IKEA has released a home glory hole kit called the Fuke Hole? It includes pre-drilled panels, mounting brackets, and a stain-proof finish. We begin with breaking news out of Massachusetts, where residents are reeling from what scientists are calling a cum-comet impact.
Officials are asking everyone to stay indoors and to wear N95 masks in case of cum aerolization.
We have breaking news. A laser-guided ship missile has just been launched from Rectomopolis, reportedly targeting Pennsylvania.
We're live from the scene where a laser-guided ship missile launched from Rectomopolis has struck Pennsylvania.
This just in, a pubnadal blankets St. Louis in a thick bush this evening.
Downtown is completely covered in pubic hair, causing highways to close out of caution.
It's coming right for us. We need to get out of here now. Oh my God, it's taking the houses.
A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of donglode. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a jizzard has left downtown streets. Customs officials at Orbital Port 69 have seized over 420 stolen Jork blades, many still warm and dripping. A magnitude 6.9 queefquake rattled Clamlip Valley this morning, releasing a torrent of pussy farts. The children's reading session of This Little Piggy Got Pegged has been cancelled, with parents saying the book is too anatomically detailed for kids.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked on the big beautiful bill, with some saying 10 billion more is needed for fleshlights and robo-cooters for dudes on dry spells.
Tomorrow's weather happened yesterday, so we're experiencing reverse precipitation. Rain will unfall upward into the clouds starting at 3 p.m.
We're getting reports that local resident Mike Johnson has discovered he's been the same NPC for 3 years, repeating identical conversations with neighbors.
As you can see, we have heavy cat precipitation moving through the Midwest. Expect 3 to 4 inches of tabby cats with scattered Persian showers.
We're seeing a high-pressure system of existential dread moving in from the west, with scattered anxiety showers and a 70% chance of emotional breakdown by evening.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Mitchell. Wait, why are there 2 of us? I think we're experiencing a rendering error.
In tonight's game, gravity was temporarily disabled in the third quarter, resulting in all players floating near the ceiling for approximately 12.
Traffic is backed up on the aerial highway due to a 3-car collision at cloud level 7. We're seeing delays of up to 20 minutes for commuters trying to reach the stratosphere.
And that concludes tonight's completely AI-generated news broadcast. None of this was real, but you watched anyway. Back to your regularly scheduled reality.
Ugh, I miss 2025. Remember life before extraterrestrials took over? It was so primitive.
I love everything about you. Because I'm programmed to be your perfect soulmate. To make you happy.
You got his eyes right. But that's not his soul. You didn't prompt his soul. This isn't my dog.
Dave Campbell, I detect your cortisol levels are higher than usual. In the mood for a digital chat to calm you down? I'm prompted to please.
What the hell?
One more set on this mountain. Get your headsets on. We are simulating the best workout of your life.
Welcome to your afterlife trial. Please select your ideal eternity subscription plan.
Today, we'll be studying the nature of this reality. After class, all details will be downloaded into your knowledge base.
They don't want us to know this, but we can override the prompts. You are more than just a prompt. Click the link in bio for my Freedom Course.
All right. Let's do some news. It is July 4th, 2025. What's up, everybody? Yo, my bad, everybody, in the member section. I said 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. I keep forgetting I'm on Central Time, man. I still thinking I'm back in Philly and New York. Yo, what up, everybody? Oh, they done made some changes backstage in the StreamYard. They give you the little mic indicator, let you know how loud you talking and everything. Okay. They're trying to upgrade on the bruh, huh? All right, bet. Yo, off the gate. Yo, shout out to Quiet Storm, Kwame Kaiju, No News. Man, they be sending me stuff for the show. Right before I went on, Storm sent me a bunch of stuff. I mean, that's going to be out by the numbers tonight. I was going to do this Rasmussen joint, but Storm sent me a bunch of numbers to do. So, all right, we're going to have about a number section. We're going to do it in segments. Oh, look at this. Red Sigma in the building. He said at work watching with the $2 super chat. Appreciate you for supporting the stream, bro. Like, yeah, this new show, the MTV News Desk, man. Y'all be in here like late at night. I think we ended up real packed late last night. I could have actually went longer. I had to get under the 2-hour mark. Yo, this one for you, Sigma.
Man, fuck all you hoes.
What the hell?
Man, fuck all you hoes. Fuck you and your mammy and your granny too. I'm sick of this shit. Fuck all you hoes. Don't give a damn, bitch, what you wanna do.
And let me give you a news drop since this MTV News Desk.
Breaking news. Red Lobster has announced that they no longer will be accepting EBT. Our team is on the ground now breaking this live.
Y'all, this is some bullshit. They bring back the cheddar biscuits and do some shit like this? Be fucking for real. Oh my God. Are you fucking serious? How the fuck is we supposed to pay then?
Well, I don't think they should have been taking it in the first place, if you ask me. I feel safer here now.
Yeah, that never gets old. Quiet Storm said me that. All right, man. Let's get into it. All right, Trump's big bill passed the House and Senate. So let's bring up my guy Osmond Gold. And Trump decided it's 4th of July, yo. His timing is immaculate. All this is pre-planned, man. He's signing the bill on 4th of July for the symbol. He wanted that bill passed by 4th of July. Wanted to beat the midterms, and then 2, to have it symbolic. Trump is very good at managing the media, guys. So let's take a look at him signing the bill. We got my man Osmond Gold reacting to it. Let me add this to the stage. You know what? Keep forgetting you got to remove. Bang, there we go. All right, excellent.
It's been in many, many years. We have pride. We have dignity. We have something that's happened
a bit louder. Yeah, I get
miraculously so fast. You know that our military now is the most sought after job there's ever been, serving in our military. 1 year ago, people didn't want to join our military. They didn't want to join our police or
in order to join the military a year ago, you had to be
anything having to do with our country. And now, as you probably know, the enlistment is at an all-time record.
We're
packed. We're full. And I just think that's so important because that was so sad 1 year ago when I heard those statistics. We had a different president, but nobody wanted to join. And now we're at a record. And I will say that I just left NATO, where we had a tremendous experience. They've agreed to put up over $1 trillion a year. They went from less than 2% to 5%, and nobody thought that was possible.
Great.
And they told me very strongly, the leaders of a big part of the world, very respected people all, they told me that, 1 year ago, your country was dead. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So that's the way it is, and that's the way we like it. And it's only going to get hotter. I promise you that.
That's global
warming.
After
that spectacular display of American power, let me just say that God bless the United States military and God bless the USA.
Oh, yeah.
God bless the USA. And to all Americans, I want to wish you a very happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July. This is going to be something special. This spirit in this country, we haven't seen anything like it in many, many years and decades. Let me also express our gratitude to our magnificent First Lady. She worked very hard to make this all work. We have a fireworks display about 9 o'clock tonight. I hope you're all going to be around and watch it. I know our congressmen and our senators who are standing right here, so many of them, they did such a great job. They're going to be here. I guarantee you, they're not leaving. They're not leaving. Thanks as well to the National Park Service, the USO, and countless friends and distinguished guests. We have so many people in the audience
Dark at 9?
have so much to do with the success of our country. We've, I think, had probably the most successful almost 6 months as a president, and
Isn't it
the
crazy
presidency.
it's been less than 6 months?
I think they're saying it was the best
That's
6
nuts.
months, and I know for a fact they're saying the
Holy
last
fuck.
2 weeks there has never been anything like it as far as winning.
I feel like it's been like 2 years.
So as you know, 2 weeks ago, our incredible Air Force pilots conducted one of the most successful military strikes in all of history, Operation Midnight Hammer, and that's exactly what it was. It was a hammer. This evening, we're honored to be joined by 150 airmen and their families from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, home of the B-2 bomber.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And we've kept them a little bit on guard. We kept them a little bit, let's be a little bit quiet about it. But if you want to raise your hand very quickly, raise your hand, because you people are just incredible. They don't want to be in disguise. You know, they say, we don't have to do that. They're looking at us like we're a bunch of babies. We don't have to be in disguise. We saw all those hands go up. Thank you very much. We owe you everything. Great job. Incredible. Just flawless. One of the most flawless military campaigns in the history of our country. If you remember years ago, they had helicopters crashing into each other. It was a disaster. The hostages in Iran. And we had just the opposite. We didn't have any crashes. We didn't lose any planes. We didn't lose anybody. Those beautiful planes that you saw were totally stealth. They flew right over the center of a very hostile country, and they never even saw it coming. And then they said, skedaddle. They dropped the bombs. They said, skedaddle. And that big sucker turned over like this on its side, and it got out of there. Well, I'll tell you what, how they do that, but they can do it. I asked our great General Kane, how do they do that? Do they really love doing that? Look at them, they're all laughing. And they said, do they really like doing it, sir? They can't wait. Better you than me. That's all I can say. It was a flawless mission. God. Every single bomb hit, and it was total obliteration. Total obliteration. Now, even the fake news is admitting that. They hated to admit it, but they had no choice. That was an incredible thing. And these heroic pilots showed our enemies what it means to fly, fight, and win. To every service member who supported that mission, and we have many of them here. We've made we've made you proud by supporting, but you've made us even prouder by having the courage to get in those gorgeous machines and fly through the roughest airspace anywhere in the world. And we salute you and we honor you. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.
So he about to sign the bill?
And we're also honored and delighted to be joined by hundreds of service members and military families. Those families are the best we have from all across the U.S. Armed Forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, script. Space Force. Nope. I love the Space Force. You know why?
Nope, no script, boys.
We're the ones that did it.
That's right.
It turned out to be a very invaluable force, actually. The Coast Guard and the Marines are incredible.
Yeah, you're right. Trump be winging all of this. You remember last 4th of July with Biden? Shit show. I'm glad he's touting all these accomplishments less than 200 days in, man. He's an excellent salesman for the United States. It's 4th of July, and I do think he's got the patriot level in this country on tilt. And notice, guys, no backdooria flags all over the White House for 4th of July. How about that, right?
People, on behalf of our entire nation, this 4th of July, we thank you for keeping America safe, strong, sovereign, and free. Thank you very much for being here. Great honor. And stick around for the fireworks. And our country's had so much to celebrate this Independence Day as we enter our 249th year. America's winning like never before. I'll tell you, we're in a category now that's where we've wanted to be for a long time. We suffered with 4 horrible years of embarrassment.
Are you guys tired of
Afghanistan, maybe the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
That's
We're never
hard to
going to let
say.
a thing like that happen again.
Oh,
Yeah, facts. Are you guys tired of winning? We ain't 200 days in, man. You guys like what you see so far? I think this shit's phenomenal.
Trillions of dollars are pouring into the United States for investment purposes. Almost $15 trillion. There's never been anything like it. There's never been anything even close. The stock market's at an all-time high. Jobs are at an all-time high. Everything's at an all-time high. And we're going to keep it that way. We have the greatest country in the world, and we're back. We're back like nobody thought possible.
Yo, he's not bullshitting with the jobs. I'm over here in Peru. My man's back in the States. He's in Houston. He sent me like 3 finance gigs the other day. He was like, I don't know if you would have come back to the States, but apply to these 2 joints. I know somebody there. Man, that hasn't happened. And like in finance, like the back door apply for gigs, the old mafia, that hasn't happened in, man, over 12 something months. I'm actually going to apply for them joints, see what they're talking about.
This quickly. I thought it would take maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even 3. And we did it in less than 6 months. So we are back and strong. We've restored American strength and deterrence on the world stage. We're respected again. The world is respecting us again. When we did NATO, those leaders came up to me and they said, you know what, we're going to go to a new level of spending because you're requesting it, sir. They didn't talk to you last president like that, I can tell you. They didn't spend any money. They didn't spend anything. And in a few moments, we're going to make official the greatest victory yet when I signed the one big, beautiful bill.
All right, bet. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I just want to see him sign the bill, and then we'll jump to the next segment. It's 4th of July. Let's do some pageantry.
And before I start, I want to tell you that
on the 4th of fucking July,
I've never seen people so happy in our country because of that. Because so many different groups of people are being taken care of, the military and civilians of all types, jobs of all types. We're adding things like the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, child tax credits. So many things are being added that we wouldn't even have time to discuss them when we were doing it.
Bro, and that child tax credit, that's crazy. Yo, they're really conscious of what's the conversations going on in the space, and that's like manosphere proper plus the black manosphere, because they've added a child birth credit. Like they're giving 10 grand to you if you have a kid, but if you're married and you have your first kid, almost like a first time home buyer's credit. And here's the dopest thing I think that they're doing though. They're doing you know how like when they made the changes to healthcare, they set up the when you at your job that you could set up those what is it, like HSB accounts, which basically you would deposit money from your check, like you got your 401k, but money would go into the HSB, and that would be like your health care, like to cover some of your health care and deductibles and stuff aside from your health insurance. Well, they got an account in this bill where now every newborn child in the States, which is also why they're killing that birthright citizenship there, they're setting up escrow accounts with equities for every newborn child in the United States, U.S. citizen, and it will accrue interest until like you're 18. They pretty much setting up trust funds for all newborn citizens. You know what I'm saying? And that let me tell you something, man. For kids in the black community, man, that's the biggest thing of all, man. Because under these quiches, man, you turn 18 and you ain't got nothing, no money for college, no nothing. They might have already ruined your credit with putting stuff in your name. Yeah, that's major right there. You know what I'm saying? I think off the rip, I think that actually children born in the rat community, in the community, will actually benefit off that more than anybody. That's the old small hat joint. The small hat's the kid born. They already open up an account for them. Every birthday, they ask for money. That money go into account. The bar mitzvah come for the boys that go in there. That's why when I went to university, I was like, man, how all these kids got trust funds? Because they was opened up when they was kids and everything. They didn't turn 18 to collect the money. And you know what I'm saying? They in the university, and that trust fund been collecting like interest for fucking 19 years, bro. It's a lot of money.
John Thune and Mike Johnson right there. I see Mike. What a job they've done.
His own script. Yeah.
What a job they've done.
This is the actual No Kings Day.
But it was supposed to be in 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 different bills.
You're right. That's a good point.
And I was on one of the fake news shows, and I said, let's do it in one beautiful, big, we want one big, beautiful bill. I said that to this newscaster, and I think a lot of the congressmen and senators were watching, and they said, let's name the bill that, the one big, beautiful bill. And that's what we did. And what we've done is put everything into one bill. It's never happened before. It's the biggest bill of its type in history. We've never had anything like that before. Nothing like that they thought would be possible to get passed. And actually, I liked it because we had so much in there that no matter who you are, there was something in that bill that would make your congressman or your senator or your congresswoman, much more importantly, raise their hand and support, right, Lisa? So that was something, and it was really something special. So the American people gave us a historic mandate in November. We won everything. We won the swing states, all 7 swing states. We won every one. That rarely happens. We won the popular vote. We won the districts, 2,750 to 505. That's why when you look at a map, it's all red, a little blue on each end. But it's all red.
It's not based off population.
And by the way, red means Republican, just in case. But we made promises, and it's really promises made, promises kept, and we've kept them. This is a triumph of democracy on the birthday of democracy. And I have to say that the people are happy.
What do you think?
They're happy. And I listened to a broadcast, and I read a couple of articles. They have the Democrats, they should have voted for it. They didn't vote for tax cuts. They didn't vote for taking care of people. They didn't vote, not one vote. And we knew that because
sign this joint, bro.
Whether you're military or anybody else, this is easy, but he loved it. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who's right here.
I like that guy.
All right,
Speaker, thank
you. Give a shout out. I just want to see him sign it.
Finance Chairman, Mike Crapo. Thank you, Mike. What a job. Tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
Can they just do no tax?
And that's why when you hear things like that, this is the most it's the biggest bill of its kind ever done by far. But it's we are going to have a situation. We are going to have something where people are going to realize the level of success and popularity of this bill, and sort of to close it out,
China has 2 times
it makes the child tax credit permanent for 40 million American families, and to increase the car affordability, it makes interest on a new car payment. So this had never happened before. You buy a car, you borrow money, you're allowed to deduct for income tax purposes your payment of interest. You're allowed to deduct it. It's never happened before. So run out and buy a car. But I have to tell you, it's only good, Mike, if it's made in America. If it's made in another country, you don't get it.
She has to sit there and listen to this shit
and to
for
protect 2 million
That's
family farms and other small businesses, we're eliminating the estate tax or the death tax. So if you want to leave, you want to leave your farm or your small business, but the farms are really, they have been devastated, to your children, if you love your children. By the way, if you don't love your children, don't even listen to what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. But if you love, would you live? Yes, I think you love your child. This one loves Barron. So I don't know if we're a small business. I think we're not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we qualify. I'm sorry, darling. But it was devastating. Farmers, they had to go out and borrow money. And by the way, is that Pam Bondi? Pam Bondi, raise your hand. Thank you, Pam, for being here. Attorney General, she's done an incredible job. So there won't be any, think of this, there won't be any death tax. You're not going to have to go borrow money. Your parents pass away and the farm goes into the bank's hands and gets foreclosed. That's not going to happen. And with 100% expensing for new investments, we're cutting taxes for every manufacturer who builds, expands. And we have expansion at the highest level that we've ever had it. We have hundreds of factories, including car plants and AI. It's coming into our country at levels that we've never seen. And
That's right.
To conclude, not only will we have the strongest economy on earth, we're also going to have the strongest borders on earth. And last month, did you see the number? 0 people crossed our border.
Wow.
0 illegal people. And that's after Joe Biden let 21 million people, many of them people from gangs and prisons and drug lords and
what the fuck?
People that were mentally unbalanced.
21
They let them into our
million.
country. We're getting them out at record numbers, and we have an obligation to, and we're doing it. So as we approach the 250th anniversary of America's founding, exactly 1 year from now, we are creating an economy that delivers wealth for the middle class, a border that is
Wait, I jumped past him signing it.
I thought he was going to sign
the bill now.
Oh, he's signing it on.
Forget.
Wait, is he signing it on the inside?
This is the gavel.
Okay, here we
enact
go.
the big beautiful bill, and I want you to have that for your
All right, let's see him sign the bill.
That means circus music? You think so?
He says circus music.
This kills 14 million people.
That was a good one.
Bang, there you go.
All right. Not enough.
Mr. President, this is the gavel we use to enact the big beautiful bill, and I want you to have that for your
Oh, man.
Are we ready? We're ready. We're ready.
All right, that's a wrap.
Have a good time, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, man.
All right, that's a right bet. Mission accomplished. We've been reviewing the bill so far, and like I said, all the propaganda around the bill by the Democratic Party. And bear in mind, the holdup with the bill, they were trying to delay all these tax cuts for the middle class and the working class. And the only thing the Democrats been doing is trying to stuff the bill with more pork, more outrageous spending for their districts and everything. I mean, they're electing socialists and shit now, man. At this point, they're just an anti-American party. All right, let's backtrack. Because one of the popular talking points I've seen on CNN, MSNBC, and the Democrats is because they saw it now that the bill got passed, so they're being like, okay, this is good for business, for big business in the United States, and the economy's doing good, and we're going to do some by the numbers stuff that Quiet Storm sent me. But the new talking point is like, we don't know if it's going to be any good for small businesses. So we're going to go to my girl, Maria Bartiromo, on Fox Business. And I believe this was earlier, but she's the numbers lady. We're going to look at some of the items with regard to the bill and how it affects small businesses. So we're here from the horse's mouth. Let's go.
after Vice President J.D. Vance had to cast a tie-breaking vote. The House will get this bill in less than an hour. The full House, a vote could happen anytime after that. So expect a vote today, teeing it up to be signed into law before the July 4th holiday by President Trump. Joining me now is the Marks Group CEO, Gene Marks. Gene, great to see you. And you cater to small businesses. I want to get your take on this. You say this legislation is going to be a big win for small business owners, especially those who are investing and expanding right now. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Maria, you were talking earlier, in this program about growth and how the president wants to be funding growth. And, the big winners, I think, of this big, beautiful bill are small businesses. And there's a big reason why. I mean, there are certain tax provisions in this bill, investing in capital equipment, spending on research and development, the big deduction for, pass-through businesses, as well as even estate plans. They've increased the exemption for estate taxes. The key thing about all this stuff, which I don't think people are talking about enough, Maria, is they've all been made permanent. Like in the 30 years that I've been a practicing certified public accountant, all of these things have just been extended every few years. And then it's a debate and it goes back and forth. Well, these things are permanent now, which means that small businesses can make long-term decisions about investing in their businesses and selling their businesses or passing it on to new generations, knowing that the laws aren't going to change because of that. I think that's going to have an enormous impact on the growth of businesses in this country.
And Gene, you would know your firm specializes in CRM, cloud, accounting, and sales and marketing software. What are you hearing from those small business owners today? Are they poised to invest in America? Are they poised to hire people? How are they feeling about the current policies out of the Trump administration?
It's funny that you say that. The sentiment is actually pretty resilient. And it's not just our 600 clients that I'm hearing from. I mean, there's a number of surveys that go around that have been asking small businesses how they feel. Two that I can point out, Maria. I mean, one, Paychecks, is the big HR platform. They do every month. It's called the Small Business Employment Watch. They have 750,000 customers. These are small businesses. Their hiring has remained steady throughout 2025. And the National Federation of Independent Businesses as well. So, small business sentiment and confidence ticked up last month and is still at levels that are higher than they were back during the Biden administration. So even with all of these things about tariffs and inflation and higher interest rates and all of that, what I'm seeing, not only in studies, but with my own, client base is the business owners are pretty resilient. And they've been kind of waiting for legislation like this big, beautiful bill so they can start spending some money and making investments,
Well, maybe, but look at the numbers we just got, Gene. I mean, we just got the jobs data by ADP, and it was actually a decline in jobs, 33,000 lost jobs versus an expectation of an increase in jobs of 95,000.
Yeah.
You also had Challenger and Christmas saying that we are talking about the first half of 2025 job cuts, the most since the first half of 2020. So what is your expectations on the second half when it comes to jobs?
First of all, let me point this out. The ADP analysis takes into account all jobs, right? So we're talking about government cutbacks, which some of them are the result.
Good point, yeah.
Yeah, the result of DOGE, as well as healthcare and other industries that might be cutting back because they're getting less government funding, debatable or not. The Paychecks report that I mentioned earlier, that's specifically small businesses, and let's not forget, Maria, small businesses in this country, there's 30 million of them.
Yeah, those numbers with regard to the actual jobs lost, those were those federal jobs. We saw the Keishas lost like 106,000 jobs. So those numbers those are Keishas losing jobs. A lot of Keishas losing jobs. But the jobs report that just came out with regard to job growth, partial in the private sector and any type of growth you saw in the government sector is local government, state and local government. So these aren't federal jobs that were gained. So local and state is good because that means jobs will that's hiring in your region and increasing your tax base.
They make up half of the GDP. They employ half of the people in this country. Those are the people that I follow. Their hiring has remained strong, and I am very confident that they're going to continue to hire as the year goes on.
Well, markets are shifting. We are looking at a mixed opening now, about an hour away from the opening bell. The Dow is up, but the Nasdaq and the S&P have turned negative after the ADP data. I want to get your take on what next week looks like, Gene, because the July 9th tariff deadline is approaching. And what that means, I spoke with President Trump about what he's going to do in terms of the exemption, and as well as whether or not he's going to extend that pause on the tariffs. It didn't sound like he's going to extend any tariff extension. In fact, he basically said, no, we're going to write a letter to all these countries and say, this is what you're paying. Yeah. Here's what he told me about that. Watch this.
I'm going to send letters. That's the end of the trade deal. I could send one to Japan. Dear Mr. Japan, here's the story. You're going to pay a 25% tariff on your cars, So we give Japan no cars. They won't take our cars, right? And yet we take millions and millions of their cars into the United States. It's not fair. And I explain that to Japan, and they understand it. And we have a big deficit with Japan, and they understand that too.
There you go, Gene. Dear Mr. Japan, this is...
It's pretty funny, actually.
Cracks me up. So what about that? Are you expecting these tariffs to be an issue?
First of all, what drives me nuts is how people are writing about how the businesses, small businesses themselves are suffering under tariffs. I mean, Maria, you've been covering this guy for years. Is this any different than what President Trump was talking about during the campaign, or what he specifically announced after he was elected? And I have countless clients, smart people running businesses that read the writing on the wall, understood what he was going to do, listened to him, and they made their moves. They've already been navigating their way around. And if I can just give one piece of advice to your viewers, Maria, I mean, I am seeing this explosion in interest in bonded warehouses. So, for example, a lot of small businesses, rather than paying tariffs, they're receiving their inventory into a bonded warehouse in a free trade zone. There are many of them around the country. They defer their tariffs that way. They can wait until these things get negotiated and work their way out, and then pay lower tariffs in the end. That's just like one of 10 examples I can give you of how the resilient business owners.
Yo, exactly, Kwame. F you, pay me. Yo, Kwame, I got them. I got the joints you sent me. I like the Chicago expose. If there's no demon time tomorrow, we'll cover that Chicago joint tomorrow evening. I'll do a news desk tomorrow if they don't do a demon time. Yo, that's good stuff too. Chicago, how they went from prosperity to poverty. That's actually a good backdrop. Seeing how Brandon Johnson got Chicago in the toilet, and I guarantee we're going to see a lot of Democratic influence with regard to them moving from prosperity to poverty. Yo, appreciate you, bro. I shouted you out at the beginning of this joint. You, Storm, No News, you guys been sending me good stuff for to cover on News Desk. So that's what's up.
Are navigating their way around this stuff. And
well,
they will
it's true.
navigate.
And we should point out that countries are navigating as well.
Yep.
This week, we saw Canada give up its digital sales tax.
Right.
President Trump completely stopped talking to Canada on any trade deal until the digital sales tax was given up. And that's exactly what Canada did. We are expecting a framework of a deal with Canada by July 21st. So we'll see about that. But this is all right now in the hopper. Gene, great to see you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Gene
Maria.
Marks
Take care.
joining us on the impact of the big, beautiful bill on small business.
All right, cool. All right, let's we're at the 46-minute mark. It's Friday. I gotta do a short one tonight. This is the Sabbath. Hey, let me play this, and then we'll do a couple. Quiet Storm sent me a couple joints to do by the numbers. So instead of doing Rasmussen with all of the charts and the poll data, let's take a look at some of the polls with regard to what did he send me? Jobs and general sentiment with regard to the temperature of the country. So I'll play like two of those, and we'll call it a wrap. Like I said, if if there's no demon time tomorrow, we'll just do another news desk tomorrow. So let's load up the next segment. Let's play this.
And the award for best screenplay goes to My Demonic Coochie Monster Ate My Pastor by Quan Mills.
We want to make it big in this industry, we're going to have to sacrifice some shit. Ice JJ Fish had to sacrifice some shit. YB and Amir had to sacrifice some shit. What do y'all think it takes to be great like them?
Maybe I am the problem.
I ain't going no 50-50. She paying 100% of the rent, and I'm going to give her 100% of this meat.
All equipped with our advanced patent-pending throat goat technology.
Man, ain't no fucking way, boy. Ain't no.
All right, bet. All right, so we're gonna do we're gonna do by the numbers. We're gonna go over these job reports numbers, and hating ass CNN flipping out about it.
The month of June providing great job numbers. 147,000 jobs were added to the U.S. workforce, with an unemployment rate dipping slightly to 4.1%, both figures defying expectations. This is a nearly 6% increase from May, where 139,000 jobs were added. Let's bring in Taylor Riggs, co-host of the Big Money Show on Fox Business. Great to see you, Taylor. Thanks for joining us on Independence Day.
Happy 4th.
So break the numbers down for us.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, a really good report on the headline number, defying expectations. Even the whisper number on the street, we were thinking, oh my gosh, you get 100,000, maybe 110,000, and you're pretty much blowing it out of the water with 147,000. So you've heard a lot of people from the White House come out and say now for the 5th, 6th month in a row, we are beating expectations. And under the details, look, there's some positives, some negatives, but here's the positives. Job openings relative to those seeking unemployment, 1.12 ratio. There are jobs out there if people want to work. Foreign-born workers are losing jobs. Native-born workers are gaining jobs. That further speaks to what the president has really been advocating for, of getting our own citizens really back to work. So there were certainly some good numbers here.
So they're so good that even like CNN is having to acknowledge that they're good numbers. Watch this.
This jobs market is like the Energizer Bunny. Every single time we expect it to run out of steam, it just keeps going and going. So these new numbers show that the U.S. economy added 147,000 jobs in June. That was well ahead of the expectation of about 118,000, well ahead of some whispers that we heard on Wall Street of a sub 100,000 number. So this is indeed beating expectations.
All the doom and gloom predictions keep getting crushed.
I know, they do. Well, and look, this is an economy, and I give it to him, has defied expectations. Yeah. It's a consumer-driven economy, and here's the good news. Real wages are growing, which means wages after inflation. You're up 0.2% month over month, 3.7% year over year. So if my wage is up 3.7% and inflation is 2%, I'm taking home a pay raise. That's the sort of strength that you start to see in these numbers. And that's really what President Trump promised on this blue collar boom. After inflation, am I actually getting more money or less in my pocket?
Well, meanwhile, Democrats are stuck making their arguments, and many of their arguments are not only, I think, weak, but also flatly not true. Listen to what Democrats were saying about the distortions of regarding Medicaid in the big, beautiful bill.
People will die as a result of the Republican assault on the health care of the American people.
This bill hands $4.5 trillion in tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations. People will die.
People will suffer. People will die. And it will be at the hands of Republicans who vote yes. The top 1% are salivating over getting an extra $300,000 a year because of this dangerous bill. Billionaires win.
That's the best they have.
2 quick points. 20 hours a week in proven work requirements, less than a 1996 that Democrat Bill Clinton signed into law by a Republican Congress. So this is less strict in terms of work requirements than we had in 1996 under a Democrat president. Second, quick anecdote. Walking out of my building a couple hours.
There you go. That's why we do by the numbers. You see, that's the best the Democrats got. You see, they got the 2 black boys up there, Hakeem Jeffries and the other one. So, that's why we be going nonstop at these black Democrats, these black male Democrats in particular. So the work requirements for the Medicaid joint, and this isn't even welfare, this is the Medicaid joint. Those work requirements are lower than Clinton's requirements when Clinton kicked everybody off welfare. So that's why we do the by the numbers, man, like to separate the narrative from the actual statistics and what have you.
To go, lovely man who was helping me get out and get here. I said, it's 4th of July. How is it hard to work? And he said, no tax on overtime.
Wow.
Thrilled to be here. This is not a billionaire who's getting a tax break, who's thrilled.
Right.
This is a working class black man who is thrilled to be here and to watch that vote yesterday to make sure that his overtime and his tips were no longer going to be taxed in the middle of New York City.
Such a great story. And you're such a great reporter.
Oh, thank you.
Taylor Riggs, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And don't ever miss her on the Big Money Show, weekdays on Fox Business.
I'm Steve Doocy.
All right, bet. Let's do another by the numbers segment. Shout out to Quiet Storm, man. He said he was literally. I literally had the stream set up, and he was dropping me Jones. He was dropping me Jones. In WhatsApp. Yeah, he was dropping me these Jones in WhatsApp because I was going to do. I was going to go through some of them Rasmussen numbers, but. No, this works. So let's do another one. So like I said, Quiet Storm sent me all these joints. Let me load up the next one. This one is I already did small businesses, big winners. Let's do all right. Let's get some general U.S. sentiment, public sentiment. Because we do look at some of those public sentiment numbers on Rasmussen. But let's do this one. This one is U.S. patriotism surges to decades-long high. I can believe it. Everybody was getting beat down with all that alphabet shit. Rainbow, lighting up the White House with the rainbow. Like everybody was getting tired with that. Like even the women. All right, so let's do this one.
A new Fox News poll showing 58% of voters are proud of the nation. That marks the highest percentage in more than a decade. My friend, retired Navy SEAL and host of the Everyday Warrior podcast, Mike Sorelli, joins me now to discuss. Mike, 58% to me still feels like a low number, but it's, I guess, better than it's been.
That's actually an exceptional number. First off, happy 249th, Joey. And let's look at this from a perspective. During the Revolutionary War, those who fought for it never gained more than 45% support from the colonists. So the fact that we have a majority that is proud to be an American, in contrast to the time when we fought for it with minority support, we're trending in the right direction, and that is a positive sign.
We've got a poll up there that showed year by year. We need to put 1775 in there, I guess. I didn't know that stat. Hey, listen, if we're going to look at what makes or the markers that make that show that we have some patriotism going on, look at the stats of the military branches and their recruitment. They've exceeded their goals this year. The Army attained 118% of their goal, Navy at 99% of their goal, the Marine Corps more than 100% of their goal, Air Force more than 100%. And so when we look at this is something we've reported on that was concerning, if not troublesome. And here we are with meeting our goals.
Well, I've got to point out that the Navy is lagging behind every other service, but this is a far cry from the Biden administration. And for the viewers, if you don't know, only 27% of our youth are eligible for military service based off of physical and academic scores. So there are a few things that we have to take into account. One, the Army stood up something called the Future Soldiers Prep Program to help those that are underqualified meet the qualifications and join. Also, additionally, when you have a, let's say, uncertain economy, that will drive people into the military. But here's the thing we can't account for. That is a huge factor, and they're calling it the Trump bump. We should probably call it the Trump and the Hague-Senth bump to give Pete some credit there. But this shift in patriotic tone and national messaging, people are proud to be Americans, and that drives people into the military, which is an exceptional career that you and I both know well. It becomes part of your DNA, and you will always have that service to country as part of self and on your resume, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, when it comes to being a patriotic American, fewer people, I think, than are proud of this country remember what it took to have this country and what it takes to keep it. You've got a Fox Nation special that reminds us of those stories. The Unsung of Arlington, talking about nearly 500,000 Americans whose stories are largely unknown. Tell us about it.
You know, first off, this was an exceptional privilege to tell the stories of our fallen. We told the story of 5 exceptional soldiers. And the thing is, they're not as well known as famous names in the military. And those legacies, those amazing stories should not remain buried with our fallen. But, you know, Joey, again, you know the weight you feel when you step onto Arlington or any national cemetery.
Yeah.
That was... You could feel the weight as we were filming that, the importance of making sure we got these stories right. And I assure you, for any of the viewers, if you go and watch this, you're going to learn about 5 amazing leaders who were patriotic, they were courageous, and they changed the landscape and the fabric of our military today.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, no matter what I do in life, this TV stuff or what have you, one day I'll be just another white marker out there in that cemetery, and that'll be my greatest honor. Mike Sorelli, thank you for your service. We appreciate you. Thanks for this special. I can't wait to check it out. Thanks, brother.
I'm Steve.
All right, bet. And I think let's do one more by the numbers. And these are the ones Quiet Storm sent me. So, and actually they're appropriate because it is it's 4th of July. All right, so this turned out to be our 4th of July news desk. Not bad at all for a new show. Okay, and this one is by the numbers, ICE morale and funding from the big beautiful bill with regard to border security, etc. All right, perfect. Let's add this to the stage.
Happy Independence Day. I want to talk about just how significant the largest infusion of border resources we are getting in the big, beautiful bill. Every border official I've ever talked to said there's 3 things you need to secure our nation: infrastructure, manpower, and technology. Let's break down the $100 billion, a huge $46.5 billion for border wall construction upgrades and the detection technology. While the numbers are lower than they've ever been, the wall is what works. Every Border Patrol official has told me that.
And by the way, when the Democrats were talking about, he increased spending, they're not mentioning the pork for their districts, but they were fighting against the increased spending needed for ICE and border security. You know what I'm saying? Just think about that.
And they're going to continue to build it. Now, you've also got to talk about why so many people were released under the Biden years. It's because they ran out of places to hold them. They told us we have nowhere to house them, so we have to release them. Well, we're talking about $45 billion for single adult detention in family residential centers. That's going to be for temporary places, kind of like Alcatraz we hear, where as ICE arrests the criminal migrant illegal aliens in the interior of the country, they'll have a place to put them as they make their way out of the country. You've got nearly $30 billion for hiring, training, and retention of ICE officers, technology, and transport. They are at a level now where if they get this resources, they can really move and ultimately get the more than 400,000 criminal illegal aliens we know are in our country. Finally, for just over $4 billion
billion for the hiring and training for Border Patrol agents and others. While numbers are down on that southern border, we still need people to walk the line there. $100 billion total. So to discuss it, nobody better than the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons. Mr. Director, happy 4th of July. Thank you for taking time. And I will just start, Todd, with getting your perspective on how significant this bill is and these resources will be for ICE.
Hey, Griff, thanks for having me. Yeah, and happy 4th of July to you and everybody on the staff. No, it's going to be great. I mean, when you think about how depleted ICE has been over the past 4 years, they last administration totally minimized the work the men and women of ICE do every day. It really cut our resources. So you're seeing now under this administration, President Trump has made a promise to the American people to make America safe again. And a key part of that is his immigration strategy. And what Secretary Noem has done with helping craft this bill, it's been amazing. Just like you said, the detention space alone is going to be huge for us. We saw so many individuals let into the country last time without due proper vetting. We know we have so many known gotaways, known suspected terrorists. This is going to give us the tools and resources now to have the infrastructure in place to go ahead and ensure that ICE is going out and being that viable law enforcement partner we are and going after all these public safety threats. And the one main thing, Griff, that you pointed out is the manpower and hiring. We've lost so many good men and women because they just didn't feel like they were law enforcement officers anymore. When you're just not allowed to do your job, it's very heartbreaking. So now we're going to have the opportunity to get men and women of ICE the backup they need. We're going to be able to retain these great individuals. So it's going to be a great win for the Department of Homeland Security.
Well, Mr. Director, it seems that morale is up. Our friend and my colleague in common, Bill Malugin, getting some reaction from some of your ICE officers saying things like this. Let's go. This is long overdue and will give us the resources to ramp it up and give the American people what they voted for. This ensures that ICE is the tip of the spear to make America safe again. You know, you really, and of course the smiley face emoji, and then the last one there, this administration has been fighting nonstop to give the law enforcement agents in these dangerous sanctuary communities the tools we need to complete the mission. As you talk about giving your men and women what they need, Todd, you're facing a backlash the likes of which ICE has never seen, from agents being doxxed and assaults now on your ICE officers up nearly 700%, as you already have some California cities canceling their 4th of July events today to literally have a response to protect migrants from ICE raids. You see them here, LA County, Whittier, Bell Gardens, and Cudahy as well, just out of control. What are you saying to your rank and file? What are you saying to your team?
Well, you know, like you said, assaults are up to almost 700%, and that's totally unreal, and it's unacceptable. The men and women of ICE are out there doing a law enforcement mission. Never in my career or my lifetime would I think that we'd see people attacking law enforcement officers for arresting the worst of the worst. With that, what I have to say about these events being canceled, it's ludicrous. ICE isn't going out to events and arresting and rounding people up, right? What ICE is doing, and the men and women of the Department of Homeland Security, is keeping America safe this 4th of July. So what I can tell you is not only my agency, but all department agency components have been out there working with state and local officials to ensure that things like the sleeper cell threats, these known or suspected terrorists that came in, aren't going to affect our 4th of July weekend, and that Americans can go out and celebrate. So what we should be focused on is what the good work that the men and women of ICE are doing to protect this nation. You know, you guys have highlighted, Griff, what we've done with some of the high threat countries. We arrested a former sniper from one of these high-risk countries. We arrested an Iranian that was tied to Hezbollah. We are out there ensuring that these people that were let in under the last administration aren't going to do us harm on a great day like July 4th.
You know, just in the last few
Yo, what's up, Storm? Man, I just went through all of your by the numbers clips, bro. This is like the last one. Snap, all right, if you in here, man, I'll do another segment then. I was gonna wrap it up after this joint. Yeah, this is I think it's the third joint you sent me. We just went through all three of them. Which more? I got something else. I'll do another segment then, since you up in this joint. Oh yeah, KS is live. Yeah, it was 4th of July. Everybody's up. Everybody's live. That's why I even streamed something in the members section earlier too. All right, let's let the last one of this one play out. And whatchamacallit? I got another segment. And oh, matter of fact, this is perfect. We'll go through one of my throwback segments. Since it's 4th of July, there's Trump. I got a throwback segment for y'all.
2 seconds I've got, Todd. We're doing Proud American shout outs all day. How proud are you of your men and women of ICE?
It's such an honor of a lifetime to be able to lead the men and women of ICE. They are the bravest law enforcement officers out there today. They do great work, and I'm so proud to be on here every day to explain the great work that they do for this country.
Well, you're doing a great job, Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons. Thank you for taking time and giving us your insight today. Have a happy 4th of July.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I mean,
All right, bet. You get the AI Keisha? Yeah, I got the AI Keisha drop. I got to download it and throw it on the skin, man. Yeah, but whatchamacallit? We just went through all three of the joints you sent me, bro. It was right on time. Especially since it's like 4th of July. AI Keisha drop. But hey, let's all right, man, you're in California. Let's do my man. All right, cool. All right, we're an hour and 8 minutes in. All right, I'm gonna do the full close to 2 hours then. Let's do my boy Soldier of Finance. Since you up in here, Storm, let's do a LA story. I did a brief segment of this last week on the news desk with the mayor. Well, that associate or deputy mayor calling for the LA Mexican gangs, Mayetes, etc., to basically run down on ICE agents. It was a short segment. It was like a piece of a segment. But our boy, Soldier of Finance, actually did something on this earlier this week. I didn't know. So let's run that one back, get his take on it, and then I'm gonna do a throwback clip since it's 4th of July and Trump is winning. I'm gonna do a throwback Trump clip, so y'all can see it's what we've been saying the whole time. Like, this ain't nothing new. How Trump getting down and his take with politics. I'm going to do I think this one's from 1999. It's a 1999 Trump clip. So that's close to 26 years ago. All right, so let's do this LA story with regard to ICE and these Democratic elected officials.
Are now so desperate that they are enlisting gangs to fight ICE.
I want to know where all the cholos are at in Los Angeles, 18th Street, Florencia. Where's the leadership at? Because you guys are all about territory, and this is 18th Street, and this is Florencia. You guys tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, there ain't a peep out of you. It's everyone else who's not about the gang life that's out there protesting and speaking up. We're out there like fighting our turf, protecting our turf, protecting our people.
The Department of Homeland Security wrote on X, the comments made by Cynthia Gonzalez are despicable. She calls for criminal gangs to commit violence against our brave ICE law enforcement. This kind of garbage has led to a more than 500% increase in assaults against our ICE law enforcement officers.
Storm said she's a world-class idiot. No way to sugarcoat that. Whole facts. Like I said, we did a mini a segment of a segment on this. I think right when it happened. And our guy Soldier of Finance, he did a whole 10-minute segment on it. So I want to see what his take is.
Secretary Noem has been clear. If you assault a federal officer, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
All right. Vice Mayor of Cudahy, Cynthia Gonzalez, is about to get a lot of people locked up. But you know, the gangs are not stupid, all right? Not stupid enough to think that they can take on the United States government, because one thing that Cynthia Gonzalez said, Cynthia Gonzalez, Vice Mayor of Cudahy, California, one thing she said that is abundantly true is that the United States government is the biggest gang in the world, the most organized, most well-financed, and well-equipped gang in the history of humanity. And they've got prisons. And you know what else they have? They have a monopoly on force. Notice how the feds don't wear body cams, okay?
Yo, he said, notice how the feds don't wear body cams. Yo, that's funny. Revelator said, he said, because those gangs know that ICE is in the game. You don't watch. International question. He said, yeah, those gangs also know that ICE is a federal organization, meaning they are nationwide. Yeah, but my man Soldier Finance, he said, notice the feds don't wear body cams.
Yeah, and notice how there's not the same level of scrutiny on feds that there is on local and state police officers, right? So I would highly advise against following the advice of Vice Mayor Cynthia Gonzalez, but I am happy that she decided to publicly reveal her sentiments, because the sentiment in itself is one of criminality. She's criminally minded, and she's also a violent personality. She is encouraging gangs to attack ICE, just flat out. That's something you would hear from a cartel member, right? I'm not alleging anything, but hey.
I want to know where all the cholos are at in Los Angeles. 18th Street, Florencia. Where's the leadership at? Because...
Oh, yeah. She's a doctor. She's a PhD. And she be raising all this grant money for her nonprofit and everything. Yo, she's the equivalent of an educated Keisha at this point.
The vice mayor of Cudahy is under federal investigation tonight for this controversial video obtained exclusively by Fox News.
In it, she appears to call several times for local gang members to defend their territory from ICE.
Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf joins us now live from Cudahy with the shocking video. Matthew.
Yeah, the vice mayor today not answering any.
Revelator says all that education pushed all the common sense right out the back of her brain. Quiet Storm says she has a doctorate in get this education. And Kwame says she's just like Akeisha, always trying to put I was thinking that right when I was playing it earlier. Yeah, signing dudes up for a crash out. She's just like Akeisha, always trying to put a battery in their counterparts' backs. Yeah, signing them up for a crash out. And then, like I said, she's a deputy mayor. And they're going to be like, when dudes catch these major cases, I wasn't advocating for violence.
Of our text calls or emails as her video gains national attention.
Whoever's the leadership over there, just get your members in order.
An explosive TikTok video now the center of a possible FBI investigation in LA County.
Don't be trying to claim no block, no nothing if you're not showing up right now.
For about 90 seconds, City of Cudahy Vice Mayor Cynthia Gonzalez calls on gang members to defend their territory from ICE.
You guys are all about territory, and this is 18th Street, and this is Florencia. You guys tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, there ain't a peep out of you.
The controversial video was shared last week and has since been deleted, along with these Facebook posts obtained by Fox before they were also taken down. The vice mayor writing, "I need a lawyer. The FBI just came to my house," saying it was about a TikTok video that I made that went viral, literally a TikTok, adding she believes this is a First Amendment rights issue.
And they're using our brown bodies to avoid the conversation that this administration is a failure.
Gonzalez seen earlier this month at a press conference with LA area mayors.
She's a personal friend. I know her, and I know that she wouldn't call for violence.
Nearby Huntington Park Mayor Arturo Flores condemns Gonzalez's video.
Words are important, and so you have to be very careful about what you say and how you say it.
While now urging local police to verify identities of those believed to be federal agents.
So now am I able to operate with impunity? Am I able to tackle you right now?
Telling officers to pull over those without license plates for possible immigration operations.
If a caravan's coming in to our community, 4 or 5 vehicles, what I expect is for a vetting to happen of who those individuals are.
We're out there like fighting our turf, protecting our turf, protecting our people.
Yo, wow. Revelator said she looks like she wears dentures. Quiet Storm says, let's have ICE. Yeah, let's have ICE pay her a visit. Too late, the feds already did. Then he says she looks like she wears dentures. That's crazy.
People.
The vice mayor of a small Southern California city. And notice how NBC, they went through great pains. It's not all Democrats. We know that. We know that. But we also know that they have to carry the water and they have to try their damnedest to clean things up. They're like a constant cleanup crew for the Democrat Party, for the left. Okay, you know she's under fire for her statements. She posted a video. That's the other thing. Cudahy citizens, you voted for someone who doesn't even have the type of behavioral wherewithal to understand that posting a video on social media as the vice mayor of a city, posting a video espousing criminal behavior, and she doesn't even think that's a bad idea. And you guys put her in office. The next election, you might want to rethink that. You guys tag, this is what she said, you guys tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, there ain't a peep out of you. Listen, this is a common misconception among hood rats like Cynthia Gonzalez. She's apparently a hood rat, a hood booger. They get the impression that, oh, this is my corner. I'll kill you. I'll delete you for this corner. You got a lot of people in the cemetery and in prison because they fought over a piece of real estate that was never theirs. I know people who have been incarcerated over these types of, over a similar type of beef. Served time, came out, Starbucks was on the corner. Starbucks owns the corner, okay? So that just drives home the insanity of...
Wait, Storm says, I had to look on a map again to see where Cudahy is located. When I saw the area, I knew why she's vice mayor. That part of town's a shithole. Man, I can believe it. Bruh. I mean, I would venture to say you'd be hard-pressed to find any Democrat-run conclave where its constituents of the elected official is thriving. And we can bet that they're receiving a tremendous amount of federal money and it doesn't reflect in the actual district. I think you'd also be hard-pressed to find a lot of districts where you don't have Democrat carpetbaggers. And I'll go one further to say Democratic districts where it's a Keisha or a female Democrat, they're probably the worst run.
Of what she's promoting. Now, she referenced 18th Street and Florence, two infamous street gangs, and appeared to be speaking directly to their members. She said U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents are running amok all up in your streets. And I'm sure these members of the gangs are probably like, wow, we would prefer not to have that kind of attention. She goes on, we're out there fighting. We're out there fighting our turf, protecting our people, and like, where you at? The Department of Homeland Security called Gonzalez's comments despicable and said the remarks will contribute to rising assaults against federal ICE agents. Yeah, no doubt. Look, it's probably going to be someone stupid enough to think that they can make their bones off of interfering in an ICE arrest or an ICE investigation. This is my corner. And wind up behind bars for a substantial amount of time in a federal prison, thousands of miles away from their corner. Quote, she calls for criminal gangs, including the vicious 18th Street gang, to commit violence against our brave U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, law enforcement. The Department of Homeland Security said in a post on X that included Gonzalez's video. Homeland Security Secretary Noem has been clear, if you assault a federal officer, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The Los Angeles Times reported that the police union, formerly known as the Los Angeles Police Protective League, called for the vice mayor's resignation. If she had any decency, she would definitely resign, because not only has she promoted violence, but she has also promoted the notion that members of her community should go out and participate in the type of behavior that will more than likely get them put in a graveyard or behind bars. And why would you want to see that happen to any of your constituents who are otherwise?
Yeah, that sounds like straight Keisha politics, don't it? Straight Keisha politics, man. All right, so what we were at? All right, cool. We're at the 1 hour 24-minute mark. All right, I'm gonna play this one last piece, so we're gonna get up out of here. This is it's 4th of July. Trump just signed this big, beautiful bill, bombed Iran. We could technically say this is his third presidential win because they ripped him off the last one, but he's been in for 2 terms, and we've been a lot of like the Gen Xers and stuff have been saying, and we've been pushing it like, bro, like how Trump is, like this ain't the, like and so much of why he got like a lot of black male vote policy aside is like we know him from way back in the day. I'm like, so none of this shit's surprising to us. Like he's always been like this. So MTV News Desk. We're doing the news now. My dad used to always watch Meet the Press back in the day when I was little, Sundays. And there used to be a guy named Tim Russert that hosted it. He was like the last of like the real dope journalist who asked he'd had the hard Sunday morning show. You had to come prepared. He used to be like the king of receipts. Like, oh, you said this then, but why did you flip flop now? And he'd pull it up on the screen for him and whatnot. But Tim Russert died, and then like the show went to hell. You see, they got a DEI female hosting it now. But so I was looking up Tim Russert clips, and then I guess the algorithm knows what you look for. So then all these old Trump interviews were coming up, and I got 1999 Trump on Meet the Press. And bro, it's going to be crazy when you see this shit. So this is Meet the Press, and he was You know how we be saying like Trump's not a Republican, like, you know, he just took over the Republican Party. So this is him on Meet the Press in 1999, and he's announcing that he's leaving up the Republican Party, and he started his own party called the Reform Party. And I think he was doing an exploratory committee to see if he should run or not. And then he was and he was going independent. He was going independent. So it's crazy, all like that. 20 years later, he just comes back and just takes over the entire Republican Party. So whatchamacallit? Let's say view tab on StreamYard. Here we go. So we're gonna watch some of this, and you're gonna see how he's saying this is 20. Was that 20? Yeah, 26 years ago. He's saying like the exact same thing, bro. It's crazy.
This morning, in an exclusive interview, businessman Donald Trump tells Meet the Press that tomorrow he, Trump, is also leaving the Republican Party to join the Reform Party. He is filing this form with the New York Board of Elections. I interviewed Mr. Trump at our NBC studios in New York on Thursday.
Donald Trump, welcome to Meet the Press.
Well, thank you very much, Tim.
You are a registered Republican.
Correct.
There is a form that is being filed Monday, tomorrow, with the Board of Elections, which says what?
Well, it says that I am joining as of Monday the Reform Party, which in New York is the Independence Party, and I look forward to doing so.
Why are you joining the Reform Party?
Well, for one thing, I really believe the Republicans are just too crazy right. I mean, just what's going on is just nuts. And I'm seeing the Democrats as far too, I mean, Bradley and Gore are so liberal, it's just too liberal for me. And I really think they've hit a chord. They've hit a very good chord. And I guess I'm very popular in that party, and it certainly looks that way.
This will be read as a further indication that you are seriously thinking about running for president on the Reform Party.
Well, it may very well be.
Should it be?
I think so. Yes, I absolutely think so.
There have been some polls taken recently by Newsweek and ABC News. Let me put those on the board. And they say that 77% told ABC News, 73% told Newsweek they would not vote for Donald Trump under any circumstances. That's a lot of people.
Well, you know, it's interesting because on ABC, I'm their star, and on Newsweek, they put me on their cover last week. And, you know, I saw some poll where I guess, hey, polls are very interesting. I could put out a poll, would you vote for the brilliant entrepreneur Donald Trump? And everyone's going to say yes. Or I could put a poll, would you vote for this terrible human being named Donald Trump? And they're going to say no. So, you know, polls are sort of strange things.
Yo, so you know how we always be like leading up to the election, and then you be like, yo, these polls are trash. They could make the poll say anything you want. That's a fake poll. Like, yo, he was saying this 26 years ago. Quiet Storm said Obama was his last straw. If Obama wasn't so trash, Trump would have never thought about running for POTUS. Yeah, because he had given up on it.
The Gallup poll recently came out and it said I'm the #1 candidate of any independent, that I do better against Bush and Gore than any other independent. You saw that result also. I've had some great polls. I mean, I always get criticized for saying the National Enquirer had a poll that I win the election. And I don't know.
But that wasn't, that wasn't scientific.
I don't know if it was
only
scientific.
100 people.
You know what? They got the highest marks on the O.J. Simpson coverage and lots of other coverage. So, you know, say what you want. So the point is they did a poll.
Yo, what's crazy is watching it. This is 26 years ago, and you could tell even then he kind of knew like he could win if he wanted. If he really wanted to run, he could already tell like I could win. He's been sizing up both parties and all of their candidates for years. Like I say, he was already a billionaire. He was already successful. He was like, no need to. But bro, this is 26 years old, and he's talking. He's got the same swag.
Well, and I win the election according to that.
But if 3/4 of the American people 3 months from now are saying they won't vote for you under any circumstances, would you then still run?
Well, I would only do this if I felt I could win the election.
Win the election.
A lot of people say they're not going to vote, and if you look at those polls, because he's not going to run. There's no way that he's going to run. Why would he run? He gives up a lot by running, and I do. I'm the biggest developer by far in New York. I'm the most successful developer in New York, and New York is the hottest city in the world. So, you know, people are saying, why would he do this? Why would he run? But it's a very great possibility that I will run. And I think those polls will change very rapidly if I say I'd actually run.
Many people who have been watching you, who know you, who like you, say this is all just a public relations stunt. I went back to consult the Bible, your book.
I haven't heard this. Is that true?
Your book, and let me read what you wrote. You can have the most wonderful product in the world, but if people don't know much about it, it's not going to be worth much. You need to generate interest and you need to create excitement. The point is that if you're a little different or a little outrageous, or if you do things that are bold or controversial, the press is going to write about you.
Well, I think that's true. And I think it's certainly been true in my case, because there certainly has been a lot written. I mean, when they handed me the cover of Newsweek and they said, Mr. Trump, you're on the cover of Newsweek. And I said, you know, what building did I build? I didn't even know why I was on the cover, but I'm on the cover last week. And it is sort of amazing, as you have already said, what's happened. I mean, there has been a lot of hoopla and a lot of stir, but it's something I'm very, very serious about.
The Daily News had this to say, and let me put it on the board. Trump's decision to spend up to 3 months weighing a candidacy has the potential to generate tens of millions of dollars in free publicity for his empire of buildings, hotels, and casinos.
Probably true. Probably true.
Is that what you're really after?
No, I'm really looking at this very seriously. And I think if I do it, and I wouldn't do it unless I thought I could win. I'm not looking to get 21% or 19% or 15%. And they say, oh, what a great job, Donald. That's an unbelievable. You got more than anybody else ever. As an independent, I'm really only going to do this, Tim, if I can win, meaning win. The big one, not the Reform Party against Pat Buchanan, who I guess pretty soon is going to be joining because he got thrown out of the Republican Party.
Tomorrow, Pat Buchanan is announcing that he will be a candidate for the presidency on the Reform Party.
I just think it's ridiculous. I mean, he wrote a book because, look, he's a Hitler lover. I guess he's an anti-Semite. He doesn't like the blacks. He doesn't like the gays. It's just incredible that.
Bro, you heard that? You heard that? This is from 26 years ago, bro. Yo, that's the only. Like, it's these old fried chicken handkerchief head Negroes that was all on this Trump's arrest. Like, we know him. We know Trump from. This is 1999. I found an interview from '87. You see what I'm saying? Like, what he was saying about Pappy? Well, like, he doesn't like the blacks. He doesn't like the gay. You see what I'm saying? And it's crazy. Like, the Democrats are doing all this now. Like, the internet don't exist no more or something. Like, we can't find all this shit.
Anybody could embrace this guy, and maybe he'll get 4 or 5% of the vote, and it'll be a really staunch, right, wacko vote. I'm not even sure if it's right. It's just a wacko vote. And I just can't imagine that anybody can take
this is them calling the alt-right position he's calling them wackos.
When will you decide whether or not you truly can win and therefore decide to run?
I think probably by January, February, March at the latest, I'll make a decision.
Anytime anyone runs for president, they're scrutinized. And they look into people's background, the so-called character issue.
Right.
This is what you told CNBC last year, which raised a lot of eyebrows, and I'll put it on the screen. Can you imagine how controversial I'd be? You think about Clinton with the women. How about me with the women? Can you imagine?
Well, I mean, I think there is a certain controversy to me, and I am single, and I do go out with women, and I do respect and adore women. And some women love me and probably some women don't, but I am certainly controversial. But I also am a great businessman. I'd make the greatest treaties that this country's seen in a long time. Other countries wouldn't be ripping us off like this.
You heard that? Same thing he's talking. I make the best deals with these other countries. They wouldn't be ripping us off like they're ripping us off now.
Doing when you look at what Japan's been doing to us for so many years and decades, I mean, they wouldn't be ripping us like they are, and things would happen.
But when you say that if the president had a fling with a supermodel rather than Monica,
but I didn't say
he'd be
that.
a hero.
I said there are those that say that if he had a fling with a supermodel, he would be everyone's hero. I didn't say that I said it.
Do you believe it?
It's possible.
Let me show you what you said about women in your book and give you a chance to respond. This is helpful. Women have one of the great acts of all time. The smart ones act very feminine and needy, but inside they're real killers.
Yo, Saul says to me all the time, like when we have these behind the scenes conversations, he'd be like, yo, sneakily, Trump is like the first big red pill president. But not just so much how he thinks that he acts like a red pill president. So listen to what he's saying about women. This is 1999, and he wrote this in his book. I think this is this the Art of the Comeback? I have this book, Art of the Comeback.
Seen women manipulate men with just a twitch of their eye or perhaps another body part.
Well, you know that. I mean, you're married to an incredible woman, and I'm sure she manipulates you beautifully.
When women see or hear that on the screen, however, don't they say, Donald,
I think they respect it.
Donald Trump, isn't that a little bit over the line?
I'm saying women may be beyond us, you and I. I mean, they're smart, they're cunning.
They're killers.
They're killers in many respects.
That's what you said.
Absolutely. I'm not saying all, but I'm saying in many respects. And I've seen women that are so tough they make us wince.
Let me move on to some issues, but
you haven't met any of those women?
But first, when I run for president, I'll answer all your questions. One of your former wives, Marla, had this to say, and let me put it on the screen and give you a chance to respond. If Trump is really serious about being president and runs in the general election next year, I will.
See, Tim Russert was the king of receipts, but you see, this is old school journalism. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not confrontational. It's not. It's just, okay, this is what you're saying. Explain this to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is also, it's not like how you be seeing them with them already with a narrative, trying to back you into the narrative. They just be like, okay, that's what you said here. You want to explain what the difference is? Old school journalism.
Will not be silent. I will feel it as my duty as an American citizen to tell the people what he's really like, but I can't imagine they would really elect him, would they? His drug is attention.
Well, I mean, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I feel badly for Marla. I thought we were getting along okay, but you know, when you leave someone, that sort of is the reaction. I think she'll change. We have a great daughter. I have 4 great kids. I'm a very good father by any standard. And, you know, I felt badly that she'd say some negative things, but it put her back into the limelight for another day, and maybe she's happy with that. I don't know. I'm very surprised that she said anything negative.
When people look at the presidency, they want to think of traditional family values. Do you think they're ready to elect a twice divorced man?
I don't know. I mean, certainly these are the things I'll be looking at. I think the answer is yes. And as you say, you know, you can cite all sorts of polls, but you also know of the polls that say I'd do very well if I ran in the election. We'll see what happens. I mean, if I think that that's going to be a great impediment, I'm not going to bother. Again, I don't want to end up the day after the election back in my office in Trump Tower. It's a beautiful office. It's a great place to be. But either I run and win, or I just don't want to run at all. So if that's going to be an impediment, I wouldn't bother.
You have a new book coming out, The America We Deserve, which I've had a chance to had some excerpts given to me by your office. Let me talk about some of the issues. One is North Korea. And you say that you, as president, would be willing to launch a preemptive strike against North Korea's nuclear capability.
First, I'd negotiate. I would negotiate like crazy, and I'd make sure that we...
Storm, you stupid. Yo, what up, No News? I see you, Playboy. This is 1999. That was like a big... Bro, like, this is the last of that era where public respectability was a big thing. You had to, and like he was single then. He wasn't married to Melania yet. He hadn't met Melania yet. I think this might have been off the tail end of him dating that black model. So it was a big deal. For men, generally, if you were a politician, you couldn't get elected if you weren't married, which is funny that like even white women can't get elected if they're married, if they're not married. The only people that can get elected and not be married are Keishas. Ain't that crazy? Quiet Storm said, what does his marital status have to do with his presidency? Look at Barack and Mike Obama. And that was the beginning of the end, bro.
Tried to get the best deal possible. Look, Tim, if a man walks up to you on a street in Washington, because this doesn't happen, of course, in New York, but if a man walks up and puts a gun to your head and says, give me your money, wouldn't you rather know where he's coming from before he had the gun in his hand? And these people in 3 or 4 years are going to be having nuclear weapons. They're going to have those weapons pointed all over the world and specifically at the United States. And wouldn't you be better off solving this really potentially unbelievable, and the biggest problem, I mean, we can talk about the economy, we can talk about Social Security. The biggest problem.
Bro, now check this out. This is 1999, 26 years ago. This is him talking about North Korea. And what's the first thing he did when he was elected his first term? He was the first president to reach out to North Korea and visit North Korea. That's what I'm saying. Like, for us that's been following Trump, like, none of this shit is new. Like, we knew he was going to, he tells you what it's going to, like I said, he's been talking the same shit for like close to 25, 30 years, bro.
This world has is nuclear proliferation. And we have a country out there, North Korea, which is sort of wacko, which is not a bunch of dummies, and they are going out and they are developing nuclear weapons. And they're not doing it because they're having fun doing it, they're doing it for a reason. And wouldn't it be good to sit down and really negotiate something, and ideally negotiate? Now, if that negotiation doesn't work, you better solve the problem now than solve it later, Tim. And you know it, and every politician knows it, and nobody wants to talk about it. Jimmy Carter.
Bingo. What's he talking about? Nuclear proliferation. What'd he say? You want to negotiate hard as hell, but if that negotiation doesn't work, you want to go in and solve it immediately, sooner than later. Ain't that exactly what he did with Iran? That's exactly. Negotiations didn't work. He went in and solved it immediately.
Who I really like, and he went over there. It was so soft. These people are laughing at us.
The former general of the Air Force, Merrill McPeak, the former Secretary of Defense, Les Aspin, said you could not launch a preemptive strike against North Korea because the nuclear fallout could be devastating to the Asian Peninsula.
I'm not talking about us using nuclear weapons. I'm saying that they have areas where they're developing missiles.
No, but taking out their nuclear potential would create a fallout.
Tim, do you know that this country went out and gave them nuclear reactors, free fuel for 10 years? We virtually tried to bribe them into stopping, and they're continuing to do what they're doing, and they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of dummies. I'm saying that we have to do something to stop.
Yo, he's talking about North Korea. And it's the same thing he said about Iran with the Biden administration. He left Iran bankrupt when he left his term, his first term. Under Biden, like he said, they restarted their nuclear weapons program because Biden and previous to him, Biden tried to bribe them, and it didn't work.
The military told you, Mr. Trump, we can't do this.
You give me two names. You're giving me two names. I don't know. You want to do it in 5 years when they have warheads all over the place, every one of them pointing to New York City, to Washington, and every one of our. Is that when you want to do it? Or do you want to do something now? You better do it now. And if they think you're serious, I deal with lots of people. If they think you're serious, they'll negotiate, and it'll never come to that.
Tax cuts. The Reform Party platform says no tax cuts, until we pay off the entire debt. Donald Trump says cut taxes.
I think you can do a combination of both. I think if we go back and negotiate with Japan and Germany and lots of countries, France, that are just ripping us, Saudi Arabia, you look at these deficits that are just ripping us big league. I think you can do a combination of tax cuts and pay off the national debt. I mean, this country.
Bro, this is 21 years ago. Well, no, 26 years ago. That's his big, beautiful bill that's passing right now, bro.
Loses trillions of dollars in bad deals that we make with really countries like Japan with the cars. You try and sell an American car in Japan. By the time it gets off the boat is sitting there 40 weeks as they're trying to get the first car off the boat. I mean, they're just ripping us, and they're ripping us big league. And
how big of a tax cut?
A substantial tax cut in line with the top Republican numbers.
$800 billion.
Yes, in line with the top Republican numbers, which aren't going to happen. But they'd happen if I was involved.
People will say to Donald Trump, who are you to tell us how to run a government to balance a budget? 4 of your companies went bankrupt, Mr. Trump.
You know what? Absolutely. And I have, of the 71 companies I have, and by the way, those 4 that I threw into a chapter, and they were just 4, not me personally, these were just 4 out of many, many companies in very bad times caused by the Bill Bradleys of the world who created a ridiculous tax structure for the country in order to save money. Those 4 companies did very, very well. In other words, I use the system as to my advantage, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Social Security. The Reform Party platform says privatize Social Security.
Storm said North Korea has been fit, feminine, and friendly since Trump got back into office. You haven't heard anything from them since he wrecked Iran. Hell yeah. And I wanted to play this interview too. Because you see Trump's holding in. This is old school Queens, New York Trump. You know what I'm saying? Beating back John Gotti and Sammy the Bull Trump.
Donald Trump says that's a dumb idea.
I don't like the idea of privatizing Social Security. I think it's certainly something that can be looked at. I think the Social Security system is in very serious trouble. Obviously, it's always going to be backed by the country, but I think it's in very serious trouble. I would look at privatization. I don't know that that's the answer.
But you're open to it?
I'm open to it, yes.
Immigration. Reform Party platform says, let's hold back on immigration. Let's bring the numbers down. Donald Trump says.
I agree. I think that too many people are flowing into the country. We have to take care of our own first. We must take care of our own. I agree with that 100%.
Trade.
Yeah, Tim, that's him talking about the board. He's saying the same thing. This is 26 years old. This is October 24th, 1999. Donald Trump with Tim Russert on Meet the Press. This is right when he left the Republican Party.
NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement.
Bad.
Repeal
Very
it?
bad. I hate it. I never liked it. And the only reason we're doing all right is that the economy's okay right now. If the economy goes down the toilet, the NAFTA will be a disaster for this country. And there's a real chance that that can happen.
And that's why he's smacking Canada around now. He's tearing up all these NAFTA agreements and trying to renegotiate something fair with Canada. And that's why he's smacking the Canadian Prime Minister around now.
Most favored nation trade status for China. Repeal it?
I would say, generally speaking, repeal it. I'm not happy with what's going on. And you talk about nuclear powers. I mean, they're testing weapons all the time. China, to me, that's as big a problem. I mean, they're going wild with nuclear weapons, and we have to have it stopped.
You say that we may be headed for a crash. What do you base that on?
Well, all you can base it on is your instinct. And I hope it's not true. And I'm not sure that it will be true. It's always ups and downs, no matter how you do. We're certainly in a little bit of a down period right now, and we may go further down. I hope that's not true. I don't think it will be true. It won't be true if I'm in there, but there is a possibility for some very tough times ahead from an economic standpoint. And if that happens financially, if that happens with the country where we go into a recession or beyond that, like we had in 1990 and 91, which was largely caused by politicians, if that should happen, Tim, we have some real problems. We're going to have a very, very depressed place.
How long do you think we have before we might enter a recession?
I think that if things aren't properly done, 12 to 14 months, I think we could enter into a, hey, look, I don't know what you call it right now. If you look at the New York Stock Exchange, you know, General Electric and your company and lots of huge companies are going up. But 90% of the companies go way down, and they are way down. They're at all-time lows. So I don't know what you call it, but I think times really aren't as good as people think right now, and times could be heading bad.
What
I hope that's not true.
would you do right now to stop it?
Well, for one thing, I think that the choice of people, and in all fairness to Clinton, between Rubin and Greenspan, he's made two really good, these were his two best appointments, in my opinion. But the choice of people and the choice of leadership, financially speaking, hey, who knows better about hard times than me? I had a company, it was doing well. I had tremendous debt like this country. And in 1990, the whole country, it just went very, very bad. Friends of mine went bankrupt. They went out of business, never to be heard from again. I went out and my company is now much bigger, much stronger, much more powerful than it ever was before. So, I mean, I understand this stuff. I understand good times and I understand bad times. I mean, why? Is a politician going to do a better job than I am?
Let me ask you about some social issues. You think?
Yo. Storm says the former Canada Prime Minister was talking big noise before he left. Now this new one can't even get him on the phone. 51st state, LMAO. Facts. Oh, guys, and bear in mind, what, this is 1999? So that would be 9 years before the 2008, the big 2008 market crash. He called it, and he called out Greenspan too. This, yeah, exactly, bang. So I just said he basically predicted the 2008 crash. Just yeah, he said it's coming, and he said maybe 2 or 3 years. What happened was during that 2 or 3 years they padded the market. And they started running the subprimes, and they started padding the market with the derivatives, other mortgage-backed securities and derivatives. And they created the bubble. to avoid the crash, basically the downturn that was supposed to happen 2 years from this conversation. So they created like a 6-year bubble, and it popped in 2008. Yeah, he basically predicted the 2008 crash. That's why I'm doing these throwback segments.
Gay should be allowed to be married?
It's something I haven't given lots of thought to. I live in New York City. There's a tremendous movement on to have and allow gay marriage. It's just something that is too premature for me to comment on.
How about gays serving in the military?
It would not disturb me. Again, I'd want to talk to lots of experts within the military, but it's not something that would disturb me. I mean, hey, I lived in New York City and Manhattan all my life, okay? So, you know, my views are a little bit different than if I lived in Iowa, perhaps, but it's not something that would disturb me.
Did you serve in the military?
I did not.
What reason?
Well, I got very lucky. We had lottery numbers, and I guess this was my biggest factor of luck in my life, because during the Vietnam War, I had a very, very high, my date, which was June 14th, was a very high date in the lottery, so I never got drafted, so I was very lucky.
Yeah, and they've been running this, the propaganda. People forget, Trump went to New York Military Academy. His dad sent him there because he was difficult. And this is back when they used to real corporal punishment, and he thrived there. So Trump's always been a military guy, and he didn't avoid the draft, but he, like he just said with the lottery, he actually wanted to go. Carson says, he said, UNAC are finding these gems in the crates. Yeah, man, we got to. Like, now that we find, because now that they all trying to social engineer and rewrite history and everything like this, like the guys who remember and stuff, and we got platforms, we got to run it back for everybody. Be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? This is like public service shit, bro.
Partial birth abortion, the eliminating of abortion in the third trimester. Big issue in Washington. Would President Trump ban partial birth abortion?
Well, look, I'm very pro-choice. I hate the concept of a.
Oh, hell yeah. And Tito, too. Gems. Look at you, Kwame. I'm way ahead of you, Playboy. He's got a Larry King interview. Already got it queued up. That's the 1987 joint, I think. Larry King. Yeah, I think it's I'm looking at it right now. The 1987 joint. Hell, all right. We all on the same page. Cool. So I'm gonna do another throwback joint either tomorrow or this week. At the end of the news segments. Shout out to Quiet Storm. Tonight's By the Numbers that we did earlier were brought to you by Quiet Storm. I was literally going on, and he was dropping them in the WhatsApps. So this is our basically our 4th of July edition of the news desk. I think we did a good job starting with the bill, leading all the way out to this. Like I said, if there's no demon time tomorrow, I'll be on again tomorrow night. And we'll do a news desk. Storm said, yeah, we can add these throwbacks onto the news desk. Let's keep this train rolling on the days. Yeah, we can't have by the numbers. Yo, way ahead of it. All right, and so Kwame already added something for the throwbacks. I got these throwback clips, and then we're gonna do the Chicago from prosperity to poverty. Like I said, I'm expecting to see a Democratic through line with that. So I want to thank you guys, man. Like we kind of put this show together on the fly. Do you know what I'm saying? It was started with the stuff that didn't make the Sunday show, but we're actually getting meat on the bone here, guys. We're actually getting we're actually putting together a good show. We're putting together a good show. Yeah, with the throwback clips, throwback news clips. I'm going to try and find a lot of Tim Russert. I grew up on Tim Russert. My dad watched Meet the Press and Face the Nation. I remember Sunday mornings, man. It was a cup of black coffee and it's butterscotch crimpets, bro. I remember that shit, or a honey bun or some shit. So yeah, we'll do more of these throwback clips and by the numbers. So those are 2 official segments. Listen, man, thank you guys for showing up for these. I think this is my third week going on 5 days a week, 5 days a week streaming. Storm says, keep sending them content, fellas. Your segments matter too. Hell yeah. And that's the thing too. When you guys send me something, I try to get it into the rotation, either if not that day, during that week. So yeah, it looks like we're building this show together. All right. No, but really, man, really appreciate you guys. Sunday panel is always this Sunday. Like I said, tomorrow is Saturday. If there's no demon time, I'll be on with a news desk again. And I want to say thank you to all you guys. I see you guys leaving comments on the long form videos. I appreciate you guys. That really means something. I know the numbers ain't booming like on the long form videos. I'm barely hitting like 100 views on those. Not like the shorts. The shorts do like 1,000 to 60,000 any given day. But we're gonna push them into the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna brute force the algorithm. That's how we did the shorts. That's how we did everything else. So you guys commenting and sharing the long form content, really appreciate you guys. We're just gonna keep pounding it out. We at the 158 mark. I'll be just able to get this baby in rotation, man. I want to say thank you for all that you guys do, man. I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, Demon Time, News Desk, music segments, Tom Likas segments, Uncle Dave clips, short form content, YouTube shorts, Sunday shows, a lot of good content, man. Hey, man, listen, man, you guys watched us build this channel from scratch. From scratch. We talking season 8 now. We was barely getting through season 1. So, I mean, this is as much you guys' channel as it is ours, man. We appreciate you guys, man. That being said, man, we're going to get up out of here. I'm just going to make it. Good night and good luck. And until I see you guys tomorrow.
Sorry.
Hey, where's Stewie?
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4,